Hello everyone, welcome to Screen Scream. I'm Viola. In today's episode, I'm going to talk about movies that are related to women power. It's either related to feminism, or the movie focuses on problems and issues a woman can face in her daily life, or it's just that the leading actress is the main character in the movie. I personally have seen the first new movie we're going to talk about today. So let's check out the introduction first. Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga. As the world fell, young Furiosa is snatched from the green place of many mothers and falls into the hands of a great biker horde led by the warlord Dementus. Sweeping through the wasteland, they come across the citadel presided over by the immortal Joe. While the two tyrants war for dominance, Furiosa must survive many trials as she puts together the means to find her way home. The first new movie we're going to talk about today is Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga. I've been looking forward to this one for a very long time. I mean, it has been almost 10 years since the prequel Mad Max Fury Road was released. I was in the US at the time, and I wouldn't say I liked the movie very much, but I think it really was a great movie. To be honest, I actually saw two of the old movies, the second and third one. I think so. I think the first episode is the only one that I haven't seen. But anyway, let's talk about Furiosa. In the prequel, Mad Max Fury Road, we saw that the antagonist is the immortal Joe. But in this episode, it's a warlord. He's very evil and very cruel. This character is played by Australian actor Chris Hemsworth. Because the story of Mad Max happens in Australia, the crew, the director himself really wants to find as many Australian actors and actresses as possible. So I think it really is a good choice to cast Chris Hemsworth for this character. Although the character Dementus thinks that he's a father figure to Furiosa, he really is actually a very terrible, very cruel, troublesome person. So you can see that it's impossible for Furiosa to see him as a father. In order to play this character, Chris Hemsworth has to spend 4 hours putting makeups every day. I mean, I didn't expect that it takes so long because he doesn't look really different. Of course, he needs to put on big beard, long hair, and a crooked fake nose. It's really different from what everyone remembers of him, but you can actually recognize him. Although Furiosa is a totally new chapter, it still follows the whole series' spirit and format. There are more action scenes, bigger action scenes also, and the scale is bigger, and the timeline is longer. Mad Max Fury Road only happens within 3 days, but in Furiosa it takes 15 years. The time span is 15 years. And actually, besides Furiosa's background story, the director also wrote the background story of Mad Max. It's just that the script and the design of the story of Furiosa finished earlier, so the director started filming this one first. But if you prefer Mad Max over Furiosa, you can look forward to maybe the next one the director is going to make. Now, after listening to this sci-fi adventurous action movie, let's talk about something that's more related to our daily lives. It's a Japanese movie, and let's listen to the introduction. Roadside Flowers and Grass. Nazuna, a painter, loses her mental balance after living with her boyfriend Kitamura and runs away from him. Nazuna escapes to Kotaro's room and lives with him. Nazuna, surrounded by the love of Kotaro, who loves flowers and grass, calms down, but gradually cracks in their small lives as Kotaro's publisher goes bankrupt and their income disappears. The second new movie we're going to talk about today is a Japanese movie. It's about some troubles and issues a woman can face in a relationship. The director is good at depicting young people's sex and love in a small corner of the city. He wants the audience to think about how hard could it be to just live a simple life in the city between two people. As we heard in the introduction, after Nazuna escaped from her boyfriend, he went to live with Kotaro, who works at a publisher, and they start living together. However, when Kotaro's publisher goes bankruptcy, they lose their income. Even their simple life starts to have some cracks. This is very real. It's like how people say, which one do you prefer, love or bread? Of course, love is fancy, romantic, but bread is also very important. When there's no money, it's impossible to have a happy life. The director is good at using unique takes and methods to depict people's lives and sex. He has directed a series of love stories. They're about people's difficult lives at the corner of the society. But after listening to the introduction, we may wonder why the protagonist would want to escape from her boyfriend, right? So actually, the boyfriend is violent. And that's the reason why the protagonist collapses mentally. After Nazuna lives with Kotaro, she realizes that they not only understand each other mentally, but also physically. And that makes her think, oh, making love can be so happy. I don't know what that implies, but maybe, just as I mentioned, her boyfriend, her ex boyfriend, was violent. So maybe he was always so violent when they had sex. Or he's just somebody who doesn't know how to respect women. Therefore, the protagonist thought sex could be something very dreadful, but now she finally experiences the great part of making love, and she enjoys it. I know it may sound like this movie is full of sex scenes, but actually that's not the case. It still focuses on the obstacles a couple can face in their daily life. Before we move on to Top 007 and talk more movies related to women power, let's review what we had from last week first. Top 3 was Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, Top 2, Civil War, and Top 1 was The Fall Guy. We have some new faces on the chart this week, and from Top 3 to Top 1, they also shuffle. Let's listen to Top 7 to Top 4 first. Civil War.
We just try to stay out. With what we see on the news, seems like it's for the best.
Imaginary Friend.
I can help you.
How?
'Cause I'm a kid.
You are the chosen one. No. Let's not give her.
Tarot. Top 4. Twilight of the Warriors. Wolf's Gate.
入得嚟成就係你幫人，人幫你。
宋世豪希。
There are 2 new faces on this part of the charts this week, Imaginary Friends and Twilight of the Warriors, Walled In. Actually, I've seen the Hong Kong movie Twilight of the Warriors, Walled In. It's actually pretty good. I like it very much, and it's selected to be premiered at the Cannes Film Festival this year. I think they just got back, or they're still there, I'm not sure. But because I think it will stay on the chart for a few more weeks at least, we will definitely have chances to talk about it. I want to talk about Imaginary Friends today. As the title of the movie suggests, the movie's about imaginary friends. I don't know about you, but I definitely have some imaginary friends. Not only when I was little, I would still say I still have them now. They're not ghosts, they're my imaginary friends. I refuse to forget about them and refuse to let them disappear. And actually, that's also the theme of the movie. There are different kinds of imaginary friends in the movie. Besides Blue Blue is the biggest imaginary friend we can see in the trailer. You may say, wait, that's not blue, it's purple. Exactly, because the kid who imagines blue is actually colorblind. So in his or her eyes, that is blue. And there's Blossom, she's a butterfly. And also Louis. Louis is the imaginary friend who starts something like a union for all the imaginary friends because when kids forget about them, they would disappear. So Louis started, oh well, I don't think that's union. It's kind of like a help group. They help each other soothe their emotions. Besides these three main characters, there are a lot more imaginary friends. For example, there's a bubble that's transparent. As long as it's nervous, it breaks. And there's also a unicorn. It has pink and green hair, yellow belly, gold horn, and purple-red nose. It brings joy and sunshine even in the darkest days. Whether you have imaginary friends or not, you can go watch this movie. I can guarantee you it's a great one, but my friend said that it's an okay movie. Now let's move on to top 3 to top 1. Top 3, Haikyuu, the movie. Decisive battle at the garbage dump.
じゃあさ、お前の学校強い？
最近は
Top 2, The Fall Guy.
Anyone but him. I didn't approve him. You know that. You are literally the last person on earth I want to see slap the shit out of you. I really could.
Top 1, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
There are dangers beyond our village.
Whoa, so The Fall Guy fell from top 1. It's now Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. In this episode, human is actually very weak. Human beings are the prey, and gorillas are the dominant species. But that actually makes the only living female character very important. At the beginning, when the gorillas see her, they see her as an endangered animal. She needs to be protected, that's for sure. They even name her, give her a name. What does that mean? It means that her status is the same as the pets or livestock in human world. Wait, I shouldn't say they're gorillas, they're apes. Out of the apes' imagination, the leading actress not only speaks, but also corrects them. She has a name. She knows exactly what her name is and she corrects them. To the apes that want to coexist with human beings, this is definitely a good news. But for Caesar II, he's obviously a tyrant. The existence of the leading actress makes him afraid because he's afraid that human beings would come back. So the leading actress is someone like Messiah for human beings in this episode. Actually, when Fox invited director Wes Ball to direct the 4th episode, he rejected right away. It's not because he doesn't like or hates this series, but because he thinks the story is finished. But a week later, he suddenly thinks that if they're filming a brand new start or a brand new kingdom, that shouldn't be a problem. The reason why he thinks this way is because the previous 3 episodes focused on Caesar, the protagonist, and in the end, his best friend promised that he will let the world know the legend of Caesar because Caesar was shot an arrow and died because of it. So in this episode, for General Apes, Caesar is a faraway legend just like ancestors. So the kingdom and the storyline is basically totally different. One of my friends who's a big fan of the series said that she fell asleep during the movie, But I would say if you are a big fan of this series, I think you probably will still like it. It's just not as good as the previous ones. And I hope you like the 4 movies related to women power that I introduced this week. Remember to come back next week, same time here at Screen Scream. I'm Viola. See you next week.